Okay.
Sorry. Okay, all set.
Okay, now call the Infrastructure Committee meeting for February 7th, 2022 to order at 5:06. Now I'll do a roll call of members. Mayor Rosenquist,
Here.
Councillor Talon,
Hello, here.
and Councillor Moore is here. We're still waiting for Councillor Kelly, so we will proceed at this time. I'd now like to have a motion for approval of the minutes of the December 6th meeting.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, having read these minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Minutes are approved. Okay, environmental, draft resolution number 2.1, drinking water infrastructure improvements project, CDM Smith amendment, emergency generator design for water filtration plant. Okay, I just had, oh, we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Just to the, Jennifer? I'll second, okay. All right. Okay, and this is just for the generator to do the engineering work to upgrade the generator. That's at the water plant, correct?
Correct. This is the emergency generator at the water filtration plant, power the whole plant. And this design work includes the sizing of the generator, the design of all the distribution systems and interconnects and automatic transfer switches and fuel storage that goes along with it. It's being funded by the WIA grant and financing, so 60% of it is covered under the phase 1 WIA grant, and the other 40% is funded by the 0% interest 30-year long-term bonding through the WIA financing.
Hey, John, what do we have out there now? Do we have a generator out there now, or?
The small generator that runs the chemical feed systems, doesn't run the backwash pumps, doesn't run any heating, doesn't run any lighting, and that generator is old, and we don't consider it to be all that reliable.
Okay, thank you for that information. Was there any other discussion?
I just had a quick question, John. Are you going to request creating a capital project for this one, or have you covered it someplace else already?
For this engineering services?
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be under the water system improvements project that's already created, 8320.79.
Okay. So I got to see if, well, we'll take a look at that and make sure the amount covers this, and if there's anything else coming later, right?
Yeah, there's enough money in the project now to take care of this. Then, we've already awarded the production well. Then later when we start doing more construction, we'll have to take a look at the project and see if it needs an additional appropriation.
Got it.
Okay, was there any further discussion on this item? If not, we could proceed to vote. All in favor of moving this to the regular agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried. Draft resolution authorizing bond issuance to pay for the cost of water distribution system improvements.
Motion.
Second. Okay. And this is something we've been working on. And this is to provide the bonding for the funds needed to do this. Am I correct?
This is the bond issue that's going to be necessary to support the water system. Let's see, capital project that we're going to see further down the line here. Where is that? Yeah, it's draft resolution 3.3 for $1,270,000. And the $1,200,000 authorization to borrow funds is going to cover the section for the New York Road water line installation.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion on this item? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion is carried.
Chairperson Moore, I just indicate that Councilor Kelly is on the line now.
Okay, I'll hold up for just a second before we.
No, he's here. He's on the call.
Oh, he's on a call. Okay.
Yes, he's on this call. Yep.
Okay, thank you for that information. Draft resolution 2.3, sodium hypochlorite for wastewater plant and water filtration plant.
Motion.
Second. Okay. Any discussion on this one?
Pretty straightforward. Purchase of a contract to purchase the chemical. I believe this is an annual contract, so
Okay.
a bit of an increase.
Yeah, we get this periodically, and that's used at both plants, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so all in favor of moving this to the regular agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, moving on to Public Works, draft resolution 3.1, authorizing revising capital project H5110.79-2021 equipment purchase.
I'll make a motion, please.
Second. Discussion.
The change to this is a $23,000 increase to a heavy duty service truck, which I asked the folks down there at DPW to postpone the purchase of that truck from last year's budget. In postponing it, as we've seen, the cost of doing businesses does go up. The cost is therefore split between the water, sewer, and general fund. I believe, Richard, you can correct me. I think it's like 7,000 each, something like that.
That's correct.
Okay, but I believe that is the biggest change and the only change to this item.
That is correct.
And you can see under the project funding where the funding increases between the 2021 revised cost of 49,000 and 49,000 between water in the water fund and the sewer fund, and then 99,000 in the general fund to the 2022 revised cost of 56,666, 56,667, and 106,667 from those funds respectively.
Okay, I had one question for you, Richard, because I'm not really familiar on how exactly the mechanics of this, but on the project funding, like, this is a bond, right? So
No, there's no bonding here. These are actual transfers, and you can see the 49, 49, and 99. Those were actually done in 2021. They were sent from the respective funds to the capital project fund to make the payments. And so now it's going up about 7,666 each, which is going to be done in 2022. So that's the only difference between this. It's just an increasing of the transfer to the capital project for the top three items there on the funds. For the first item, the heavy duty service truck, the CHIPS money has already been spent on all the rest of the issues there for the large municipal tractor 175, the heavy triaxle truck of 200. So basically, the interfund transfers are covering the first four items.
Okay, that's where I got a little confused because I thought we had already purchased a couple of these things, but okay, that explains that.
We have, I think we've purchased everything but the top item. Mike, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
That is correct. We've not only purchased them, but the big ticket items, the two down below, we've gotten reimbursement for the triaxle truck and the municipal tractor. If Richard doesn't have it, he'll have it any day now.
Okay. That answered my question very well. Is there any other discussion on this item? If not, all in favor of moving this to the regular agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried. 3.2. I think that's the next one. We'll double check these. Okay. Authorizing revising capital project H5110.84 2022 street resurfacing.
Motion.
Second. Any discussion?
Yeah, and Mike can jump in, and Mike and Andrew can jump in and correct me or misspeak. As every year, we adopt a capital expenditure plan for road resurfacing and repairs. This is the planned plan for this year, and it does include a significant amount of streets on the hill, as you can see, St. John, LeBlanc, Hartwell, as well as a number of streets on the at the Lake Country Village. We've added a number of ancillary streets, major streets as well. George Angel Drive, which has gone ignored for quite some time. That street is in rough shape, even though it's not a main street. It's one of those streets that connects the south end to the west side of the city, and between the south end and the high school. Also included in this plan is Bridge Street from Peru Street to J Street. There is some question regarding the Durkee Street development, whether or not we tuck into the street between Peru Street to Upper Bridge Street. But as we know, that project is still pending, and we're waiting on the direction on how to move forward with that, as well as Upper Bridge Street, which again, that is would be included in part of the Margaret Street redevelopment project. So we opted to leave those streets out of there for the time being until we get a little bit more info on that. Otherwise, the funding for this project will primarily come from CHIPS funding, where we will say CHIPS, EWR, Paved New York Touring Routes funds, where we are, even after these projects are complete with a number of other infrastructure projects and equipment purchases, we will still have a little bit of money left over in those funds, combined amount in those funds. The $45,000 general fund is going toward the site survey and street borings, which are not reimbursed. Some of those are not reimbursed via CHIPS. So.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any discussion or questions about this project? I'm glad to see we have a plan. That's great.
Yeah, and as we did last year, when we get halfway through these street repairs, there might be other street repairs that we tuck in at the back end, much like we did last year. Oh, please, Jeff, I'm sorry. Just one more thing. I'll stop talking after this. That I would like to note that we have added sidewalks and ADA improvements to sidewalks in this program. So that's something for us to also just keep in mind.
Excellent. Well, hearing no further discussion or questions, move forward. Also wishing to move this to the regular agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. 3.3, draft resolution authorizing revising capital project Oh, wait, is that the one we just did? Yes. No, that was 3.2. Okay. Shouldn't have so many of these. Okay, authorizing capital project 320.82 2021 water system improvements.
Make a motion, please.
Jennifer, second. Okay, any discussion?
As you can see on this, they're adding a length of New York Road that was originally planned. It's just a revised cost estimate from the capital plan estimates that we originally had.
Yeah, those are always shockers.
Yeah, just keep in mind that these especially on the old base. That infrastructure is quite old. Varying depths of that infrastructure as well. That inherited infrastructure is not necessarily what we would build today, but we have inherited it, and we have to fix it along the way and make it and improve it as we can.
Yeah, I guess our estimates are always a little more optimistic than they probably should be.
I'd like to add, Councilor Moore, to give you some scope. We're talking about 3,200 feet of pipe.
We're having trouble hearing you, Mike.
You hear me now?
Yeah, a little better, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, my speaker's not good. This is about 3,200 feet of pipe, substantial project. This would be the second one of two, actually three, because we did do Maryland Road also. We did Ohio last year. Last year I believe it was, or the year before. New York, and then we're moving forward. But this goes with our comprehensive plan of getting rid of that asbestos cement pipe out on the base. But this is a big one for sure. And then Maryland will be the biggest if we ever get to it.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, we're all aware these are, necessary improvements. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor of moving this to the regular agenda, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried. Draft resolution authorizing revising capital project H5110.83 2022 equipment purchase. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, Chris, you want to tee this up?
This is a number of improvements that we've discussed both on council and in the department. The purchase of a recycle truck. We are talking about, and we have discussed purchasing totes, garbage totes, to have a consistent program for garbage collection. So rather than, at the end of the day, when somebody signs up for garbage service, they go to Lowe's and they pick up their own garbage tote. Rather than them doing that, the city will provide them a standard 96-gallon tote that's tracked against their account. That way, everybody has the same size and it's consistently collected. I'll let Mike and Andrew talk about the 35-ton trailer. The building inspector, per the approved capital project, is purchasing 2 new vehicles. And the truck tracking that we have discussed on a number of occasions, even before my administration came on, is the tracking of the garbage trucks and the garbage, refuse, and plow trucks on a typical route. That not only provides the opportunity for new drivers to, quite frankly, plug and play, if you will, just to be able to jump into a truck with a route and take off knowing that route, but also the ability to report back to residents when their garbage was picked up, what time their garbage would be picked up, if we've passed their street in terms of clearing their street for plowing and snow removal. It's the opportunity for us to be a little bit more refined with how we report our services back to the community and how we leverage our internal resources more effectively.
I would only want to add in there also the street sweepers. That's always a big item. You guys, Beth gets a lot of calls about we haven't swept your street or haven't been by in 2 months. This will definitely help with that.
The other part is that that GPS tracking is part of a citywide multiple departments. This is not only includes DPW, but also it does include PD to be on the same tracking platform. Right now the PD does have a tracking system, but it's disparate between what DPW is looking at and what PD is going to be also shifting to.
So we'll have the capability of tracking all our vehicles then.
Including yours, Councilor Moore, because we're going to put the GPS in your. No. Yes, in a way, and one thing for us to be really responsible with is that we, there's a finite data points here. We don't necessarily want the general public to know where their plow truck is, just so that they, we want. I should say this. We want to make sure that the general public knows when the plow truck is passing by, or when the garbage truck has passed by. We may want to be a little bit more responsible for the finite detail of where the truck actually is located. We have, and as you know, we have some residents who would be happy to track down or chase down a garbage truck and tell them to go back, or chase down a plow truck and say, go down my side street. And that's not necessarily what we want with this system, but rather it is really twofold. One is that transparency piece to let the public know that, yes, we've passed by your house and we've collected your garbage and you may have missed it. And we'll take care of you. We'll take care of you and let people know, yes, we did plow your street an hour ago. It might be snowing heavily, but we're doing it. We're out there. And then also for us to be able to use our resources a little bit more efficiently with routing, garbage collection, pickups, and snow removal, as well as Mike Bissett said, street cleaning.
Well, and I'm looking forward optimistically to those larger totes. I think that might be part of our problem of the overflowing garbage cans. It will also tip us off to where there maybe are more people on a particular garbage pickup than should be. Because if they fill that up, there's a problem. So that's great. Very hopeful on that.
Yeah, and we've had a number of internal conversations regarding the garbage service. We just recently had a conversation with the department, DPW, and Mike's team over there had conversations with Richard and Mike to enhance and improve that service. Not only just the process of it, but also the management and potential future growth of it. So we'll start chipping away at those things. I think that's one of those services that provides a good balance to the city and a good benefit to city residents if used and grown properly. And so we'll continue to look at ways to enhance that service.
Great. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? If not, we'll proceed to vote to move this to the regular agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried. Item 3.5, authorizing bond issuance to pay for the cost of purchase of equipment for construction and maintenance purposes.
Motion.
Second.
This is the corresponding bond approval to pay for the previous capital project that would typically come out of the general fund. Whether or not this is reimbursed through grant, other programs, and other funding streams, as per the norm, we indicate that the funds would initially get paid out of general fund. Future reimbursement would either come through bonding or another funding source, but that's what this is. It's bonding that $415,333 that is indicated to be paid from the general fund in the previous resolution.
The only comment I have on that, I know it must have slipped through the cracks somehow or other, but I know I hate seeing vehicles for a particular department being bonded, but I'm assuming that must have slipped through the cracks somehow in the budget. But I just wanted to comment on that. That's all.
Yep. Well, and as noted in the budget process, a lot of the departments, and we went back to PD, specifically PD on this one, and I know that we had a very direct conversation about those particular vehicles, given the wear and tear and I say this, tendency for those vehicles to get bonked around a little bit more than other city vehicles. Yeah, it did make sense to pull those vehicles out and have those be paid for out of operations. Some of these vehicles are reimbursed through chips, so it does make sense to bond these vehicles for the lifespan of the 10-15 years that they're going to be in use. The same thing with the building inspector's office. You know, these are vehicles that they get normal wear and tear, kind of day-to-day operations. You don't use them to ram into other cars or other things intentionally or otherwise. And so the useful life of those vehicles tend to be a lot longer than, say, the vehicles that are used in PD. But in this case, what we're talking about is $62,000 if building inspectors' vehicles. The other items that are on that resolution, that capital resolution, are large recycle trucks, which typically do get bonded, and the other bits are equipment. So I do hear where you're coming from, Councilor Moore, and you know, more than happy to, when we come up to this year's budget, look to take those vehicle purchases out of bonding and put them into more of operations or save for them for future purchases. But yeah,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Is there any further discussion on this item? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried. 3.6, draft resolution authorizing capital project H5110.85, 2022, public service building.
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? This is-
Yes, so as per the approved capital plan, 2022 capital plan, that included the replacement or repair of the city hall steps. Per that, we created a capital project. Created a capital project here to begin that process of engineering and design engagement as well as construction. And as you noted earlier, Councilor Moore, this is an estimated cost. $200,000 is an estimated cost. We are aware that there are some grants available, which again, those are funding streams. But per the norm and per the not tradition, but per the normal flow of things, we indicate that this is paid out of the general fund. With a backfill of bond payments into the municipal buildings for municipal buildings capital improvements.
Well, they most certainly are due to be repaired.
Yes, sir.
Is there any other further discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Next resolution, 3.7, draft resolution authorizing bond issuance to pay for the cost of the public service buildings.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? I guess we just discussed this pretty well. Unfortunately, those steps are in bad shape, and that is a historic building. So.
And also, just the point here as well is that we all know that the roof also needs to be fixed. We are doing the best that we can in 2022 to make it not rain to impact that building, but we have very little control over that. But the capital plan for the roof isn't until 2023, just so that keep that in mind. But this is for the steps, specifically for the steps. And again, the hopes is that after we indicate this is paid from general fund, we go up to bond for this, and then we hustle for grants because like I said, we do know that there are a number of grants available for buildings like ours.
Yeah, we already approved some money to patch the roof up to get us through this year, right?
Correct. That's correct.
Okay. Very good. Is there any other discussion on this item? All in favor of moving this to the regular agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion is carried. Item 3.8, which is a discussion, 2022 road resurfacing repaving plan. Is that Mike gonna give us
Yeah, Mike can jump in, but again, this is back to the 3.2, which outlined the number of roads that we do have currently planned for reconstruction and resurfacing. It does not, I don't believe that we talked, I'm getting a little reverb there. I don't believe that we spoke about the Margaret Street project, which is, again, that's work that we're actively pursuing now, or the Beekman Street full depth reconstruction on that item either. But those are also major projects that we're actively working on, in addition to the list of 16, I think, or so streets, or maybe not that much, 10 streets or so that we listed in item 3.2.
Thank you very much. Does anyone else have any other questions on this? If not, we can move to 3.9, discussion on sidewalk improvement plan 2022. Well, I just want to comment that, it's been a long time. We haven't done a lot of sidewalks in the last few years. That's something, we all want to be better. It's, the trees push them up and they crack. Big, large trucks moving, cement or whatever into yards. I'm glad to see that we're actually incorporating this into our plans and our budget. Does anyone else have any comment on that? I'm real excited about this. So
This is something, and yeah, this is something that we also budgeted for last year, and I believe that it went along with the PSAP grant that we had planned for the improvement of the sidewalk along Cornelia between the Stewart Shop and Prospect. But as we all know, that grant or that project had to be pushed off to this year. But again, you're right, Jeff. There's, I don't think we've had a very targeted approach at sidewalk replacement, much like we do with our streets and roads. But we also know that there are some sidewalks that are in desperate need of replacing and improving.
very good. Does anyone else have any questions or comments on that? If not, move to 3.10, discussion yard waste follow-up progress and city refuse totes.
I can comment on the totes, as noted, the capital project, which, when it goes to regular meeting, I certainly do hope that it does gain the support of the full council. And again, it really puts the city in a better position when it does come to collecting garbage. Center City, for example, we hear about it a lot, about garbage is overflowing and not enough garbage room out there. So we're hoping that the introduction of a 96-gallon tote, standard tote, for all garbage users helps with that issue. I will let Mike comment on how the yard waste changes have been progressing.
Paper and the biodegradable bags have been basically extremely successful. There's no other way to say it. Where we were taking weeks.
Mike, we can't hear you. We probably can't hear you at all.
It's been extremely successful. Where it would take normally weeks to get through a route, we're getting through in a day or two. We're collecting, basically able to go through the city about twice a week, picking yard waste and or leaves. So a big help for sure.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on this item? If not, we'll move to a resolution under the mayor, 4.1, mayoral planning board appointments. I think there's 3 of them here. I'm not going to read them, but would entertain a motion, move this to the general agenda.
So moved.
By Counselor Kelly, I'll second.
If you recall, sometime, Beth, I don't know when Courtney sent out that message, but there was a big push to get members of the public interested in serving on the planning board. From that initiative, 2 people came forward. Addie, I apologize. I'm not going to be able to pronounce her name, and if you're listening to this, I'm just going to say Miss Abby. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not even going to try. And then Mr. Cosgrove, both express interest. And per my request, they went to the planning board directly, presented their request to the planning board. From that request, a letter from the planning board came to my office asking for their appointment. And so that's where these folks are coming through. I do not know them. I am relying on the planning, and I did read their resume and their letters, and I was very impressed by those things. And that information has been provided to council. The other members are Loretta Rietzma, who is an alternative alternate voting member, and given there's a vacancy, Ms. Rietzma is being moved to a regular voting member of the board.
Yeah, I must admit I was fooled by Abby's resume because it didn't sound like she was from here at first, but I realized she must be working remotely or something. She is from the city, right?
I believe that you're required to live in the city to serve on the planning board.
You are.
Very good. Yeah, it was kind of deceptive, not deceptive. I'm trying to think of the word for it. It fooled me as to where she was from. I thought she was
Yeah, I thought it was
applying
like
for a job
project
or something. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, she's comes highly qualified for sure. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? If not, we'll proceed to vote for moving this to regular agenda. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion is carried. I don't have the copy of 4.2,
Yep.
so maybe
I will summarize this as best as possible. If you go ahead and take a motion in a second, we can. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't have the title. The title.
Yeah.
Sorry, I apologize. I was like, duh. Yeah, sorry. Resolution 4.2, resolution title, authorize the mayor to sign the New York State Low Income Household Water Assistance Program vendor agreement.
Okay, is there a motion?
Make the
Make a
motion.
motion, second.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Yeah, I
Yes.
apologize for not having this on hand.
No
getting
worries.
a new system.
Yeah, no worries. So this is a water assistance program for those residents who are qualified under a low income household per this program. As the state has created this program, it does require a vendor agreement. Essentially, what happens is we and Rich can probably correct me, or John can correct me. They are also part of this, but understanding the process here a little bit better. We look to see what accounts are in arrears, water accounts that are in arrears. I believe what happens is that we send that information back to the state. State qualifies them, and then the payment is made for that past due bill straight to the city on that household's behalf.
Okay, is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, we can proceed to vote for this to the regular agenda. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Item is moved to the regular agenda. New business. I had two things that I'd gotten a lot of comments on. One is the narrowing of the streets. The streets are getting pretty narrow. A lot of people have suggested that we push the banks back a little further if it takes additional days to do that. And I rode around today to verify that. Some streets are just barely one lane wide, and on the streets where there's parking, they're nosing out into the road. So just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention that they are getting quite narrow. Downtown especially is challenging, but a lot of the streets are like that. The other comment I've been getting a lot of airtime on is sidewalks. I don't want to get into a big discussion on that, but just saying people are bringing that up. That's why we don't do the sidewalks, and I don't want to get into a big thing about it. I'm just relaying the information, and just opening it up to maybe future comment. That's all I had. Is there anyone else who had any new business? If not, I don't see anybody for public comment. Beth, is there anybody out on there? Okay.
There are no attendees.
All right. I guess entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thanks,
Thanks,
folks.
folks.